center stage in this liberal masquerade. Cabinet ministers close behind while the master spins his lies. Welcome to the Canadian circus.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Canadian circus. Today I'm going to be discussing the new censorship bill that is going on in the UK, and that is a censorship bill that has been tabled here as well. It's similar to the one that was put forth in UK, so we can look at UK as kind of like a future look at what is going to be coming to Canada with Bill C-63, one of the most censorious bills that has ever come to Canada through Justin Trudeau and his Liberals. They want to censor everything we say, and they want to jail people for saying things that are offensive. And they call it the Online Harms Bill, and they continue to push it as, oh, you don't want to protect children, and that's the cloak that they put on this thing. They make it seem as though you're intolerant. You're an intolerant bigot, or you don't want to protect children. So, because what they do, they put a whole bunch of stuff in the bill that basically they don't talk about. They only talk about the basically protecting children online. They constantly talk about that, and they make it seem as though if you don't want this bill, even with all of its other poisons that are inside the bill, then you just don't want to protect children, which is an utter fallacy, and they gaslight you into submission. But that said, we're going to look at this one. Let's see. Here we got a man out in the UK. Judge brands a man a bigot over his Facebook posts. So let's see. What did he say? Okay, there's a plasterer who admitted to stirring up racial hatred on Facebook, has been sentenced to 21 months in prison. 21 months, nearly 2 years for, let's see, for what? Okay, he's a 33-year-old man. He posted a racist message on social media on the 8th and the 10th of August as part of a disorder in England and Northern Ireland. So the judge says, Kinsley is a bigot who holds deeply offensive racist views. Let's see, let's scroll down a little further. Let's try and find out what this guy actually said that was so offensive. Okay, so one of his posts said, deflate the boats. I don't even know what that means. Okay, his first included derogatory language about immigrants and said that anyone not supporting the riots shouldn't be allowed to live in the United Kingdom. I don't know what's so wrong with that. That's not inciting anybody to violence. That's not telling somebody to do anything. So far we're off to a glaring start here. Okay, let's see. Judge Roslin calls this nonsense and said Kingsley appeared to be unhappy that there haven't been any significant riots in Wales and wants some nearer to home. Okay, that's still not saying, hey, come. That's still not saying, hey, I want you to go out and do some riots. He's just saying he's unhappy that there's no significant riots. Stupid thing to say, but it shouldn't be jailable, really. And of course, they browbeat him into admitting fault, told the court that Kingsley was truly sorry and had admitted to the offense as soon as the police arrived at his door, because they browbeat him into submission, really. Although Mr. Kingsley shared the messages on Facebook, it was only visible to his friends. So, and then Judge Rowan says you only post something on social media if you want it to be seen. Yeah, he wanted it to be seen by his friends. Of course, he said that. History of offending. Could not ignore the timing of these posts. Okay, so he has a history of offending. and that's it. That's it. So they don't even. That's all. He's jailed for that. He didn't actually incite a riot. He didn't tell people to go out and do any rioting. He just said express displeasure for not seeing any riots in his area. That's truly not something to be jailed for. And for nearly 2 years for speech online. So we have no free speech anymore in UK. They can be basically they can basically jailed for just saying something, saying whatever you want to say online, and it wasn't anything really over the top there. Here we got Rowan Atkinson. He's talking about these censorship that's going on in the UK right now. I'm not going to play the whole video. I'm going to play some of it.
This thing in life is the right to express yourself freely. The most precious thing in life, I think, is food in your mouth. And the third most precious is a roof over your head. But a fixture for me in the number 2 slot is free expression, just below the need to sustain life itself. That is because I have enjoyed free expression in this country all my professional life and fully expect to continue to do so. Personally, I suspect highly unlikely to be arrested for whatever laws exist to contain free expression because of the undoubtedly privileged position that is afforded to those of a high public profile. So my concerns are less for myself and more for those more vulnerable because of their lower profile. Like the man arrested in Oxford for calling a police horse gay, or the teenager arrested for calling the Church of Scientology a cult, or the cafe owner arrested for displaying passages from the Bible on a TV screen. When I heard of some of these more ludicrous offences in church,
It's pretty funny because the second one there is absolutely true. And I'll say it. Scientology is a cult. Scientology is a cult. So if you can say that that Christians are a cult and things like that, so why can't we say that Scientology is a cult? It is fully a cult. There's so many religious entities that could be considered cults. If you look at the true marks of a cult, Scientology will be up there with them. And just like any cult that, like any organization that kind of tries to pump money out of you, tries to control what you do, what you say, that's a cult, man. And just like, like the Duggar family, it's that was considered to be like a cultish family because they controlled everything you did, everything you said within that family, and wherever the father said was always what went on, was always what was followed. Let's get back into it.
I remembered that I had been here before in a fictional context. I once did a show called Not the 9 O'Clock News some years ago, and we did a sketch where Griff Rhys-Jones played Constable Savage, a manifestly racist police officer to whom I, as his station commander, is giving a dressing down for arresting a black man on a whole string of ridiculous, trumped up and ludicrous charges. The charges for which Constable Savage arrested Mr. Winston Kadogo of 55 Mercer Road were these: walking on the cracks in the pavement, walking in a loud shirt in a built-up area during the hours of darkness, and one of my favorites, walking around all over the place. He was also arrested for urinating in a public convenience and looking at me in a funny way.
Ooh, that's kind of funny because in the States, the cops are actually already like that, where you don't give your identification, and that's basically, and you basically speak to them in a funny way. So that's already happening in the States. And then you got the cops arresting you and beating you for simply not identifying. Like you got these First Amendment auditors who are going around just filming in public, and they will arrest you if you don't identify. Meanwhile, you don't have to identify because most of the states that they're doing this in, or all the states they're doing this in, it's not a stop and identify state. So, yeah, like there's like here's the website for this. This is on Reddit here. I'll post a link down below so you can go and see this whole thing. But yeah, with Bill C-63, let's see. With Bill C-63, I've looked into this bill. It's a massive bill. It's hundreds of pages long. It's okay. Here they say Bill C-63, an act to enact the Online Harms Act. It's not the Online Harms Act because we already have criminal code definitions to be able to deal with pornography and pornography geared towards children. We already have the laws on the books for that. I've already checked it out. So to amend the criminal code, the Canadian Human Rights Act and Act respecting the mandatory reporting of internet child pornography by persons who provide an internet service to make consequences. That's not what it's about. This is just, that is a red herring there. That's not really what this act is about. If I'll leave a link to the actual bill here too, so you can go and check it out. I'll make it easy and you can go check it out. I mean, this, like I said, this is just a red herring. They want you to focus on the online harms and the protecting of children, but it's not even about that. There's so much more in this bill, and basically what's going on in the UK right now would be happening here as well. You would be jailed for your speech online. You'll have cops showing up at your door, arresting you and fining you for things you say that are offensive online. So if you go and say, hey, there's only 2 genders online, well, guess what? You're now going to be fined or jailed for saying that there's only 2 genders, because they would say that's hate speech now towards the LGBT cult that's out there. Oh, and I just said the LGBTQ is a cult. So for saying that, I would be fined or jailed too. So if this Bill C-63 actually ends up coming into law, it's going to be a very, very rough time for Canada. And what is happening in UK right now will be happening here as well. So I don't know, man. It's here we are again. Yeah, but yeah, that's it's going to be a very rough time in Canada if this bill gets passed and goes through the if it gets like royal assent and actually becomes fully law. It's the Conservatives already said they plan on putting that the first on the repeal list for the bills that they are going to repeal. So it seems like there's not enough time for this thing to actually pass. And if it does pass before the next election, the Conservatives are going to get in and they're going to repeal this thing post haste. So it's not something I'm truly worried about at this point, but I'm going to keep this on my radar because I've been looking into it and it's not a good bill. I will look further into it too, because it's a massive, massive book. Let's see if I got this thing. Oh, I do too, right here. This is a massive, massive bill. Look at this thing. It is huge. It's, oh my God, how many pages is this silly thing? Spider, get out of here. Oh yeah, there's so much to this bill. Oh man, yeah. Yeah. Bill C-63, I'll leave it in the links down below and you can check that out. It's a massively freedom threatening bill that's we should be paying attention to. We should be calling our MPs if you disagree with this thing. You should check it out. You should look at it and see how bad it is. And you should call your MP and let them know what you think of this bill. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm going to be done on this one. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Check this video out. And I'll see you in the next one. Canadian Circle.
Cabinet ministers close behind while the master spins his line.